Welcome back to Press Review. Let's start by taking a look at today's front pages in the Middle East. Starting in Beirut, the Daily Star reports that Lebanese forces MP Sri Dajaja held rival Christian parliamentarians responsible for obstructing elections of the sole Arab Christian president, as parliament failed for the 9th time in a row to fill the country's top post. The paper also reports that a Lebanese soldier has joined the ranks of rebel groups fighting in Syria, the first such known case since war broke out in the neighboring country in 2011. The UAE's Gulf News leads reporting that UN Chief Ban Ki-moon yesterday demanded that Israel and Hamas cease the spiraling violence in Gaza as he pushed diplomatic efforts to end bloodshed that has killed 620 Palestinians. The paper also reports that Jakarta Governor Joko Widodo won the country's presidential election with 53% of the votes from Indonesia. The Egypt Independent reports that the parties of the Democratic Current held a meeting with former presidential candidate Hamdin Sabahi at the headquarters of the Constitution Party to discuss their platform for the coming parliamentary elections. The paper also reports that 2 Egyptian workers were killed after a shell inadvertently fell on them during clashes between pro-Libyan retired General Khalifa Haftar forces and Ansar al-Sharia in Al-Hawari area in Benghazi. From Saudi Arabia, the Arab News leads reporting that major US, European and Canadian airlines cancelled flights to and from Israel on Tuesday after a rocket fired from Gaza struck near its main international airport in Tel Aviv. The paper also reports that Crown Prince Salman held talks with Pakistani Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif on major regional and international development and pointed out that he considered Pakistan as his second home. From Iran, the Tehran Times reports that top parliamentarians from certain Muslim countries met in Tehran on Tuesday to unify their position against the Zionist regime, which has launched an intensive and ruthless attack on the Gaza Strip. The paper also reports that the head of Iraq's largest church said that the militants of the ISIS who drove Christians out of Mosul were worse than Mongol leaders Genghis Khan and his grandson Hulagu, who ransacked medieval Baghdad. And now let's take a look at the top Middle East news from papers here in the UK. The Guardian leads Middle East news reporting that Lib Democrat MP David Ward has refused to apologise for saying he would probably fire a rocket into Israel if he lived in Gaza, despite his party, quote, utterly condemning the comments. The paper says a Liberal Democrat spokesperson said Ward would be subject to disciplinary proceedings. Also from the UK, the Independent leads Middle East news reporting that scientists have found the first evidence that the deadly virus originating in the Middle East may have become airborne. The paper says experts had previously believed its transmission required close physical contact with an infected person or animal, most commonly involving people handling camels in the Middle East. But isolated MERS cases have been reported across Asia, the US and Europe, including at least 2 in the UK. And the Telegraph reports that more children than Palestinian fighters are being killed in the offensive on Gaza, according to the latest UN statistics, despite Israel's claims to be waging a targeted military campaign. The paper says Human Rights Watch said in a statement that investigations of cases where there were similar casualties with no apparent military objective suggested Israel had committed war crimes. And now let's take a look at the top Middle East news in international papers. From Germany, the Deutsche Welle reports that UN Human Rights Chief Navi Pillay has criticized both Israel and Hamas at an emergency UN session in Geneva, saying that the death of civilians and children in Gaza suggested Israel might be in breach of international humanitarian law. The paper adds that Pillay cited cases of Israeli airstrikes or shelling hitting houses and hospitals in Gaza. And finally, from China, the Global Times reports that the CM ministry has welcomed the appointment of Staffan de Mistura as the new UN envoy to Syria to replace Lakhdar al-Ibrahimi, according to the official Syrian television. The paper says the ministry hoped Mistura would stick to neutrality and objectiveness, mainly to respect the national sovereignty of Syria and non-interference in its internal affairs. That was it for today. For more updates, visit our website levant.tv. Thanks for watching. Be sure to join us again tomorrow, and bye for now.